What's up guys? I am in desperate need of a haircut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Shangaf Vanilla Toffee by Swiss Arabian. Vanilla Toffee is supposed to be inspired by Lush's Sticky Dates. So it's supposed to be a gourmandy, delicious kind of scent. And I'm super excited about it because I love the gourmandy scents. I love the sweeter scents. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about it. I've already tried it for a couple of days and I am looking to get into it with you guys. So this was released in December 2024, like I already said. And people have been saying that it's pretty close to Lush's Sticky Dates. First we have to take a look at the bottle. I want you to take a look at this beautiful bottle right here. So if you take a look, it's a beautiful kind of mustardy yellow with a golden top. It is very simple, very classic. It has like this textured kind of like, I think it's going for like a pillowcase texture in the back with the top, and it's very simple. It's a very simple bottle. It's just square golden lettering. There's nothing huge to write home about, but it's a very nice bottle. Let's talk about the opening of this. I already sprayed it. Let's see what this smells like. Whew. This is giving pure caramel, but it's almost like a burnt caramel to me. So it smells, I don't know if you've ever made caramel. There's like different stages of caramel, right? There's like the light stage of caramel, there's like a darker caramel, and then there's like almost dark caramel. This smells like dark caramel, right? This smells like caramel that's just about to burn, and it smells really good. It's almost charcoaly caramel to me. It smells very woody, very caramelly, very dark, and it's extremely gourmandy, but not in the sense that it's not very pretty gourmand. It's not a very female leaning gourmand. I think it leans strictly unisex because of how dark it is. It can be worn by either side. When I looked online about how people were like thinking about the opening of this, most people were saying that in the first 30 minutes, what they kind of sense in this is a sense of vanilla with toffee and coffee. Like those three scents is what most people say. And I agree with that a little bit. I think the part where I'm sensing like burnt is probably that bitterness from the coffee. So that caramel is being darkened by that coffee, is being bitter by that coffee. It's also pretty strong, but not super strong. Like it didn't fill up the room. Let's move on to the notes for this. The top notes of this are toffee and coffee. The middle notes are vanilla, walnuts, dates, cardamom, and milk. And then the base notes for this are brown sugar, Madagascar vanilla, woody notes, benzoin, tonka bean, caviar, or vanilla caviar, and musk. Would you imagine if this had caviar, like fish, sudden fish in the middle of this? But yeah, all of this together gives that very strong vanilla scent. I think there's a lot of notes here that I don't know if it plays a huge part. I think the most that I sense in this are that toffiness, that buttery gourmand note that I'm sensing as like burnt caramel. Brown sugar is definitely there. Vanilla is definitely there. And I would guess the cardamom, the date, is all providing some warmth and sweetness. If you've ever had these candies that are like chocolate and caramel covered coffee beans, that kind of smells like this. It's really good. I really enjoy this. It's a very nice gourmandy scent, but again, it doesn't lean super female, it doesn't lean super male. It just feels very indulgent. It feels like a very indulgent scent. It feels very expensive in that indulgentness. On Fragrantica, this has a 3.69 out of 5 with 290 votes, which means it's not super popular, and it's also not rated super high, which is a little surprising. Maybe a lot of people aren't vibing with how gourmandy this is. I always do a lot of research in the comments of Fragrantica, Reddit, YouTube, etc. regarding fragrances, and I can tell you the top 3 comments on this are basically that it is very good in terms of price compared to other scents, that it is sweet without being too cloying. I think it gets right there to the point of being cloying, but it doesn't get cloying. And then that it has a lot of longevity for its price point. I don't think that's a huge plus at this point because a lot of scents at this price point have good longevity. In terms of the negative critiques, people say that the coffee note in this fades a little bit too quickly. They also say that the complexity of this is lacking compared to the original scent. And finally, people say that the initial blast of this, the initial spray of this, is a little overwhelming. So that's a little unfortunate, but honestly, I don't see a lot of that negative. To me, none of that kind of stands out as a huge deal breaker for me in this scent. Next, we're going to read some reviews. We're going to read some reviews that I found interesting or I found funny about this fragrance. On Fragrantica, Kisher says, I don't know why exactly, but I get a very strong and astringent burnt plastic smell off this due to the mixture of toffee and coffee notes, I guess. On paper, this seemed so interesting and a gourmand heaven, but thought to play it safe by sampling it, and voila. It is horrible to my nose as nothing in this is smooth or nuanced. All the notes seem sharp and the overall resulting scent is very acrid. Please try before you buy. Civ 7 stars says, good lord, this is a mess. Opens with a beautiful, clearly recognizable, wonderful toffee note that then thumbs its nose at you and instantly disappears because somebody stopped stirring the toffee on the stove and let it burn down to black charred remnants at the bottom of the pan. Then they tried to cover up the smell by cooking a curry. They throw cumin and other spices in the kitchen but burn those as well. They give up at this point and go fetch some wood for the fire just to burn the whole kitchen down. But they run out of matches, so they go sit down sadly with their pile of wood. I am so glad I only got a sample of this. Smash it up with a toffee hammer. Nasty. Be ashamed if you've shilled on TikTok for this one. Kiara said, at first I was horrified. I got dark, burnt coffee with a side of burnt plastic. I think it's just the initial shock of the perfume's strength. Didn't give up on it and let it sit for a week or so. When I tell you, you need to let this sit for a while after opening the bottle. I sprayed it every day to see how the scent was changing. And it still is. Now I get a creamy, thick toffee with a dark roasted Middle Eastern coffee, a hint of cardamom, and a gorgeous creamy vanilla dry down. It's so gourmand without being overly sickly sweet like I was afraid it would be. That was the reason I didn't originally opt for lattafa's eclair, because I wanted something that was a little masculine leaning without being too manly. Definitely not a safe blind buy for most people. Muzan said, dark dessert, affogato. Don't mind the bad reviews for this one. People have been clamoring to be the first to get their hands on this, to post content right off the heels of the big releases like Bianco Latte and similar clones. Shangaf Vanilla Toffee is nothing like that. This is a very dark and intense gourmand that really teeters on the line of what people call a gourmand. Just looking at the note breakdown, it makes me think of a chef brainstorming a dessert, combining flavors that can complement each other to get a certain flavor, chasing that Michelin star. In this case, the chef focused on toffee's dark roasted flavor. That's what this smells like to me. It opens with a strong toffee and supplemented with black coffee notes with some brown sugar binding those two together. The dates and cardamom pop in, accentuating the notes, creating the smoky feel, on top of a backdrop of vanilla and a hint of walnut. The mix of the last two gives it a slight milk feel. On the dry down, the backdrop of vanilla remains, tonka keeping it soft, and the wood, musk, and benzoin come out, keeping some level of smokiness that complements the vanilla very well, like a fancy affogato. To my nose, that darkness of it makes it more masculine. The darkness makes it more versatile. Someone could easily dress this up in a suit for a night out in a casino, or a date, or a ballroom event. Or dress this down for home to lounge. If your girl wears Bianco Latte, you can wear this. Definitely would work better on colder days. Other than that, it delivers on the name. Lots of vanilla and toffee with complementary flavors that develop around it. I don't know what everybody else expected when they saw the word toffee in the bottle. Toffee is cooked at higher temperatures than caramel and give a much darker and roasted flavor. It doesn't smell burnt or bitter, you just don't like toffee. Now that this has dried down a bit, I can give you like a general consensus of what this is like, more or less dry, and I can tell you what it smelled like to me after I wore it a couple of days. This smells very smoky. This smells almost burnt. This smells like a very nice caramel that has turned to toffee, essentially, which is bitter, sweet, creamy, caramelly. Think about an expensive dessert. Why do I say that? Why do I say expensive dessert? If you've gone to a very, very expensive sweet shop or a very, very expensive dessert place, they're actually not that super sweet. They're actually less sweet, and they highlight the uncommon flavors like burntness or like dark roasty stuff or like brown sugar or molassy stuff. This is what this is highlighting. It's like taking a gourmand and highlighting the uncommon sense of a dessert. That's what this is trying to do. So when that person said, oh, this is like a chef trying to figure something out in a recipe, I agree with that 100%. This is what this is doing. So this is really nice. I really like that. Just picture your brain, toffee, almost burnt, and this is what this is going to smell like, and bringing out that warm spiciness in it. It's so good. It's really good. I really enjoy this. This is something that I would definitely wear a lot. This is like Bianco Latte if Bianco Latte was going through something. You know what I mean? Like Bianco Latte is masochistic or sadist sister. That's what this is like. Or brother. Well, that's what this is like. According to most people's opinion on dry down, this just softens a little bit and woodiness comes out. I never got the woodiness in this. The woodiness never made an appearance for me. But most people basically say that the toffee mellows out. The vanilla comes out a little bit more, and then the woody comes in. I just never got to that woody part. The woody part hasn't come in yet. This probably needs to macerate so it blends in a little bit better. I will say that that burnt caramel punch is a little extreme, and I wish it was a little bit better blended. So I think that's going to take a little time before this becomes that perfect blend. But it's beautiful as it is. I just want it to be a little bit better blended, just a tiny bit better blended. In terms of projection and longevity, in the first 2 hours, this basically projects about 3 or 4 feet. It's not a super projector, but it's decent. It's a decent, good projector. And by hour 3 to 8, longer lasting projector, it basically projects around 2 feet. So it is decent, and it never turns into a skin scent ever. So I think it'll be a good projector. It'll be a good longevity. I think it's a pretty decent scent. My final thoughts on this. This is a great gourmand scent. This would be great for colder weather. This would be great for dates. This would be great just to show some playfulness. Like the other person said, if they wear Bianco Latte, you wear this. This is like a good playful scent that kind of plays with the darker side of gourmands. Overall, I really like this. It's a great performer. It's a great scent. My ratings for this would easily be scent profile 9.5. It's not as great as Bianco Latte or as great as Eclair, for example, but it's almost there. I think once this mellows out a little bit more, once it matures and mellows out, it'll be a 10, but right now it's a 9.5. Projection longevity 10/10, and then I would give it an overall of 9.8 more or less. So that would be my rating for this. This is a great scent. I would recommend it for you guys if you are interested in gourmands, and if you're interested in the darker side of gourmands, this would be a great bet for you guys. Have you tried Shangaf Vanilla Toffee? Has this been on your radar? Are you a gourmand lover? Honestly, are you a gourmand lover like me? Because I know there's not a lot of guys that are pure gourmand lovers. My favorite part about doing videos is engaging with you guys. Remember, the sense is subjective. What I like isn't necessarily what you like, and always remember to smell your best. See ya.